So I have been debating whether or not to bring this topic out, and I thought it would be interesting for us to open up a conversation surrounding this particular topic. So James McCaffrey, obviously the actor and voice actor known for making Max Payne the iconic Max Payne that we all know and love. He voiced the character in Max Payne 1, 2, and 3, and he sadly passed away in 2003 at the age of 65. Now, obviously, with his death, a major question would come of the video game Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes that are going on between Remedy and Rockstar. And, the conversation began of, well, what happens to the character now? Do you recast the character? Do you use voice lines of the character from the original games and just kind of work with it like that? And I think it's a hard thing because obviously you want to have what made Max Payne iconic, and I think James McCaffrey and his voice and his acting and what he brought to the character is what also made Max Payne be Max Payne. Without him, it doesn't feel like Max Payne, right? And I 100% get that. And I think in the same vein, like the voice of Batman is Kevin Conroy, but you have other great actors that have also picked up the role and done a particularly good job or a very fantastic job with the role of Batman, even though he's not the iconic main voice of Batman. And you look at Max Payne, and the reason that I wanted to bring this up for discussion, and I'm not here saying change the voice or keep the voice. I just wanted to open up a line of discussion and kind of see what the fans, are feeling. It feels like Remedy is doing this really big thing around Max Payne, and the marketing hasn't even started. The trailers haven't started. Nothing has really started yet, but you could tell that it's a big project. You can tell that it's something that they've been wanting to work on for a long time. It's, the series that made Remedy what it is today. Without Max Payne, Remedy may have never taken off. It owes a lot to it because it was its franchise. It was its best franchise, right? I think they're wanting to do something big. And because of that, you're remaking these games. Do you recast the voice to another actor that can be very good and do a gritty feel for it and also does potential motion capture? Like, is this game going to also have like motion capture stuff? Like, is this going to be like a full production game? Is this going to be like a brand new game, right? Like, this is Remake. So do you have to do that? Do you have to do the motion capture and all that stuff? And if you do that, would you want a character to look that a certain way and talk a certain way and do everything all at once? Because with some games or with Max Payne, you had the face in the first game, right, was Sam Lake's face, and the voice was James McCaffrey. And so it was different, right? And so now what do? Do you have someone else do the motion capture in a different face, and then you have James McCaffrey's voice come back? Like, because you don't even know what face you're going to use for Max Payne 1 and Max Payne 2, because Max Payne 1 had a different face and Max Payne 2 had a different face. So now you have to figure out the tone, right? And even Max Payne 3 kind of looked like it had a different face too. So it's like you have to look at Max Payne 1 and 2 and say, all right, this is the character that we're going to use. This is what actor or whatever we're going to model the character off. This is going to be his look. And that is now going to become his official look. And so with that, do you grab an actor who can play the face and play the voice? I guess if you look at it, you're taking a look of, this is more of a modern production now. So you have to have the motion capture, fully integrated, face animations, and all that might be easier if you have a new actor. You could maybe introduce new lines. You can introduce different dialogue. Maybe you're going to do some cinematic moments and, make the game feel new and fresh, right? And if you do that stuff, would you need to have a new actor? Because maybe you want to extend some of the dialogue or expand some stuff that you couldn't before, right? And if you have somebody new and a new face and stuff like that, you also have the potential to attract new players, other players. That is one of the arguments, one of the sides for maybe recasting the role of Max Payne. Now, the other side of the coin is keeping it, right, for authentic sake. You have this big voice of James McCaffrey that is associated 100% with Max Payne. That's what McCaffrey brought to the role. So you keep that if you keep his voice lines. You respect McCaffrey and his original work. You honor him by making sure that he stays alive in this new series, this return of Max Payne. And maybe some of these iconic lines or these, quotable things that Max Payne said in the past won't sound right if it comes from a different actor. So you want to have McCaffrey do that. The problem with that would be that maybe this is limiting because you don't have enough footage. You don't have enough recordings for some of the stuff that you may want or not want to say, right? But you could also look at it, maybe they have a lot of unused archive footage that they never released. Maybe they did a lot of extra recordings and you can grab that recording and integrate it into the story now, and you can expand the world a little bit more. Again, the problem would be that if you do a Max Payne remake and you have this motion capture and you're doing the remakes and you're kind of redoing certain stuff with a lot of these actors doing motion capture, wouldn't it be a little bit hard to do the integration if you're going to use the original actor's, performance, or if you're going to use McCaffrey's voice and stuff? Like, how would the motion capture and stuff work if you're trying to do like cinematics or introduce a different side of Max Payne? Now, I'm not saying let's change Max Payne 100%. Keep the vibe, keep the tone, keep the story. I believe Remedy can do it, but there's a certain way that you may have to tackle this to maybe innovate a little bit and have it same but different. And so yeah, in the conversations there. Now, obviously, with recasting the character or trying to do something new with new dialogue and stuff, you risk big time, like some older fans not wanting to return, alienating them in a way because they love McCaffrey's voice. And I've seen it in the comments, don't recast McCaffrey, don't recast McCaffrey. I get that, right? So it would be very difficult because what if the new actor fails and he doesn't recapture that iconic voice of Max Payne or that feel? And then it'll be hard. I don't know. It was a conversation that's been on the back of my mind for like 3 weeks. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been thinking about it consistently, nonstop. And I was like, okay, what could happen here? Maybe James McCaffrey was already working on the Max Payne remake, right? Because I feel like if he wouldn't have passed away, I think Sam Lake and Remedy would have offered him the role to return and come back and do this. Because, he's worked with them so much over the years. He's been working with them for 20 years they had been working together. And McCaffrey even came out in Alan Wake 2 and he played, Alex Casey. So I bet you by that point they had already had conversations like, hey, we're going to do this remake and we want you to return and it's going to be badass. And, we might even put you in the, motion capture because we're going to do this whole thing and, we're going to actually integrate your face. Like, it could have been this whole thing of McCaffrey doing, Max Payne in a new way, coming back to a role that he loved. And this was going to be really fucking cool. And sadly, with his death, none of that happened. And so maybe, Remedy had to pivot and say, okay, we have to recast this role. You know what I mean? Or maybe they don't recast it and they keep the archival footage that they have and they retell the story with just his line. And I also think if you're only going to have Max Payne return in this Max Payne 1 and 2 remake and that's it, after that Remedy moves on and they don't revisit Max Payne again for over a decade, for like many, many years, like it's over, then I think you could just use James McCaffrey's voice from the original games, put it all together, just bring Max Payne 1 and 2 up to, normal standards today, and I think you're fine. What if you want to have another game with Max Payne or have like explore a different story in between games or something, right? Because Max Payne is so popular and the return of his character could be so big that maybe they want to capitalize and do another side story, something brand new that we've never seen. If you do that, wouldn't you want a new actor so you could play Max Payne in the first and second game, and then in this next game or this next spinoff or this other little thing, you could have that actor continue to play Max Payne? It's a hard conversation. It's a hard conversation and it's a difficult conversation, but I wanted to talk to you guys about this and I wanted to know your opinions on it. It's a hard conversation nonetheless, like 100%. I understand it is hard. Sometimes you don't want that change. It's very difficult because like I can't picture anybody else doing it. Like Troy Baker, voicing Joel Miller, I can't picture anyone else doing it, man. Nobody can fucking be Joel like him. No, but I saw the fucking live action. Pedro Pascal, fuck that. Joel is fucking Troy Baker. That he is Joel, and I get like I don't want to see nobody else do it. You know what I mean? So for Max Payne, it's the same thing. It's like some people are like, fuck that, dude. Fuck that. Fuck that. Like, Max Payne is James McCaffrey. James McCaffrey is Max Payne, and that's the only fucking thing I want. That's it.